Hi, my friends. Today I have with me, I will call her an angel. And she's here on my very special program, Wednesdays for Women. I'm really privileged that she's here with me. And in fact, I'm honored, I'm humbled that a personality of her stature is here on my show to speak to all of you. And she's going to speak from the heart. She's one fantastic lady, my dear friends. Please welcome my senior, my mentor, an angel, and a person who I'd met just last year, Minku Buttar. A very, very warm welcome to you, ma'am. And this is my privilege that you are here today. And a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Tina, for that overwhelmingly loving. It's warmed me up completely for that beautiful introduction and for having me here. The honor is completely mine. And I met you a year ago. You did leave an impact on me as well with your exuberance, your energy, and your vivaciousness. And I am so glad. They always say people exit and enter each other's lives. And I think it was time for us to create some magic together. And now we're
Yes.
here together. And also, I think when we were talking, we talked about how, just having a conversation. We are all having very soulful conversations nowadays, but also how to have a conversation that's meaningful and
Yes.
having a proper soulful conversation that maybe we use our platforms to uplift the morals that are really down now in the pandemic times. And remember, we were having this conversation and we said the need of the day right now is how to move from the skull to the skill of
Yes.
well-being.
Yes.
So for everyone out there, my name is Minku Buttar.
Butter.
um,
Sorry.
yes, I wish it was butter, and then I could have just melted hearts away.
But far butter, every time I come close to you, you absolutely melt into us.
Thank you for your warmth. So, if
I,
yeah,
I will take a minute to introduce you to the audience, if
thank
I may.
you, thank you.
Yes, you got a lovely profile, my dear Angel. So I have to introduce you, and I have to let the other women know what wonderful work you're doing. The kind of joy you spread. I remember one thing. I will have to start this whole program with one thing. I met you when we were taking photographs in the hall of this hotel in Gurgaon, and this was the Women's Economic Forum.
Mhm.
And I remember you came up to us and you said, "Can I help you, please?" and and we were like, all the girls and all the women there with me, we were like, wow, who is she? And then you made me do a catwalk across that entire strip. Tina, ek kaam karo, you just go there and just walk back as if you don't have a care in the world.
Mhm.
And I remember I was wearing a sari, and I was feeling on top of the world because I said, wow, no one's ever told me things like this. I have to do this. And I got of my sari, and you were saying, walk like you don't have a care in the world. And I
Queen
walked
of the
around,
world.
yes, queen of the world. And I was walking through that, sashaying through that whole thing. And I remember you did this on your phone. You did a slow mo for me. I
Mhm,
still have that
mhm.
video.
Oh,
I've
how
used it.
amazing!
My God, that was like such a
That was
beautiful thing. And
amazing, amazing.
I just go back, to reminisce what you did with us, and you
Right.
you you left, you left an aura of love, amongst
Ah,
all of us. And we kept talking about you. We kept talking.
that is
Look
so
at
sweet of all of you, Tina. I am so touched because sometimes we go through life and we don't realize the impact we have on people around us. But I always say this, that we don't have to worry too much about what the ripples are, because you just have to be authentic. You just have to be you, and you have to just show up in your vulnerability. you know
yes,
if we can just have our vulnerabilities. We are all hurting inside. We all have traumas, we all have scars, but if we're willing to embrace that and just be present in the moment, then everything else takes care of itself. And that's really my message always.
Wow, wow. And that is one wonder. That is why one wonders why you have this beautiful face, and the face that that the kind of shine, the aura that you have on your face, it actually exudes so much of positivity, so much of love, so much of caring for everybody. Every
Thank
time
you.
I've seen you like this, a beautiful woman. Thank you so much for being on my show today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. I'm just so out of words. Usually, it takes a lot for me to be speechless. Just in today.
I'll take a moment to introduce this wonderful lady who's on my show today. I'm truly privileged. She's here on my show, Wednesdays for Women. She is Minku Buttar. Now I stand corrected. She is a joy advocate. There are many advocates, but she is a joy advocate, and we'll listen about this from her. She's a transformation facilitator, a moderator or in international radio channels. She's a keynote speaker. She's an energy work specialist. She's a founder director of Circle of Joy, and I really love this Circle of Joy. I simply love this.
It's the circle of joy.
The Circle of Joy.
Of joy.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the Circle of Joy. It's a master classes and retreats, and it's rewilding with nature. That's what you have written here, rewilding with nature.
Mm-hmm.
And she is the state president, Karnataka Lifestyle and Fitness Improvement Council, WICCI, Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And she's on a mission to help people reintroduce joy in their lives through reflecting and finding solutions for the unneeded storms in their lives, so that they can once again be empowered to embrace their awesomeness and brilliance at work and relationships. Our divine path needs to be the deep dive work of going from being unconsciously incompetent to unconsciously competent at all times, just like breathing air. What a lovely way to express this. And then her mantra, Minku Buttar says, my mantra is what the caterpillar calls the end, the rest of the world calls a butterfly.
Butterfly.
Wow. So dare to show up in your vulnerable, authentic self anyway. Wow. Wow. I am just absolutely floored by this whole, this
Thank you.
book I have read out. And now I would open up this whole thing to you. The show is yours, Madam Minku.
Thank you so much, Tina. I cannot remember ever, when I was last introduced in this overwhelming, powerful introduction. So from my heart to your heart, thank you so much. And I just feel let's use this forum to see how we can maybe leave a spark with someone somewhere. And frankly speaking, if you had even asked me about 2 years ago that what's the best way to make a decision in life, I would have just answered you very emphatically, very clearly. I would say, okay, let's make a list of pros and cons. Let's assess the possible outcomes. We'll take ourselves through every single scenario until the winning solution presents itself. Now, for me, like a lot of us at that time, for me, the head was the mind is logical, and it causes us, we trust the mind to make very good decisions, and also to take care of the fashion label that I had at that time. So basically, my mind was navigating me into a very practical, I would say, world of success. And also, I can tell you back then, I found that we Tina, are so hardwired into the idea of not wanting to be vulnerable, and we look at um, uh, our heart as emotions, and then we know that we can be very undone by emotions in front of people. So we have this facade in front of us, but um, I found, as the realization came to me that this heart-centered approach that we all have, also, I think, leaves it, at least it left me very depleted. It left me very frustrated, very burnt out. And I did not even know that we had other options. I mean, I didn't know we had other options. I was toiling every morning till the skylarks in my community where I stay came out. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners are probably going to be able to relate to that. Like, we worked so hard, right? um, and also, Tina, the other thing I realized, and I don't know if you can relate to this, this is very interesting, that our mind is also like an ego, the
Yes.
mind and ego. So, and if I can put this concept for a clearer explanation, because, it's nice to be able to understand this so that we can talk about solutions on how to uplift ourselves and move from head to heart. So, let's assume that our mind or the ego is like the GPRS of a car, right?
Uh,
So
yes.
what happens is it's there only to navigate the road, but all of a sudden it just takes over. It just takes over and it keeps on chatting and chatting to us nonstop, and distracting you from what needs to be done in the present. Then it creates stories of the past. Like, it'll say, like, oh, do you remember who said what? Do you remember who did what? And it makes you feel like you're the biggest victim walking on the face of earth. And it also takes you into the future and starts weaving stories about things that haven't even happened. And that's where our fears come in. With this pandemic, we are all fearful. Oh my God, what's going to happen? It's another thing to be cautious, and it's another thing to be fearful. So if we are careful, so what this mind or the ego does is it doesn't allow us to be in a moment of joy and in the present. What I wanted to say to you, and my big message today, Teenet, and I again so happy to have this forum together, share this platform with you, is that a middle path where we can use both head and heart is possible. It's possible, and Tina, the people who know me, 150% they know that I walk this talk. It's not just a talk. I walk
Yes.
this talk.
Yes.
Yeah, and I bring this message in whatever forum I have available. So the golden truth, if I can say it like that, is that people are falling apart from not being able to cope with relationships in these times, because people are thrown into each other, and long time ago they forgot how to communicate. I'm sure you hear that as well, right, from a lot of your friends and families. Or just the stress of losing a job in the near future, or even a loved one in the pandemic. So the mind shift of moving, Tina, from the moving actually to a heartful space of compassion, of kindness, of generosity, of love. It is the only way from now on to stay sane. You have to make this shift. So, as a transformation coach and facilitator, I just want to say this before I go into various brutal truths that you're going to all find about each other. I just want to say that as a transformational coach and a facilitator and someone, I'm working with various modalities of energy and healing, and I seize every opportunity as a keynote to bring this message. Um, so, to all you listeners out there, I just want to say this. I hope you believe that if you take one step, the universe takes 99 towards you. And that's why I feel like I've been given these beautiful opportunities to speak and bring my message, which we will go into very soon. Recently, I was invited to be a moderator for a show on talkradio.nyc out of New York. Then we had another opportunity to talk on a channel called WRIU 90.3 FM out of Rodeo Island. And so this message of mine, together with other beautiful souls who are on this journey with me, it actually, the message of heartfulness has gone so viral, right? In fact, I just want to share with all my listeners that I want to share a quote from my ever favorite Hollywood actor, Denzel Washington, who says that, and I'm just going to read this out, this one thing, because I don't want to get his words wrong. So I'm going to read this. If you will please bear with me with a lot of love and patience. He says that at the end of the day, it's not about what you have, and it's not even about what you've accomplished. It's about what you've done with those accomplishments. So it's about who you've lifted, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. And I think at this point, it would be a great lead to our listeners to take you all through the four pillars of well-being, as I call it, because I am so excited to share those. This is a program that I started. Okay, so I hope that yeah. Okay, so we got a little disconnected. I hope we are still online. Okay, all right. Okay, so we had a little disconnect, but I think some of our listeners are still online, and I will carry on sharing so we make the most of our time here. So I've introduced for the love of all our listeners, I have introduced a beautiful program called Joyfulness Code, the 4 E's, which is emanate, joy, and sparkle. Engage your, the second E is engaging your emotional intelligence. The third one I call endorsing a fearless self through resilience. And then the fourth one, when we have walked this path, is embracing your own brilliance and true potential and your awesomeness. So, to all you listeners, I think you all are awesome, awesome, and you need to embrace that awesomeness. So, and I can, before we go into this mantra a little bit deeper, I just want to say that I have concrete evidence. And we just finished a 4-week program that I called it um, the healing through the art of self mastery. And we use modalities of energy, mindfulness, emotional vocabularies, guided meditations. All this works at a very, very deep subconscious level. So you need to be ready to work. You need to be ready to embrace your demons, because we are sweeping so much under the carpet. So even we worked, and the moment of joy that I have to share with all of you is that the mind shift, the letting go of baggages that we had through all the 18 participants, the egos that got shattered, the forgiveness. Welcome back, Tinit, on my show.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm disconnected to the internet.
Yes, I kept talking to the Freebirds team and that beautiful icon they have there. And also, I relate so much to my listeners. So I hope my listeners are with me. And thank you, Tinit, for joining me back. So I was just talking to my listeners about the miraculous achievements and the mind shifts that happened in the 4 weeks journey that we just did with the joyfulness code that I do with the circle of joy. So we had egos
Okay.
that were shattered. It has been in spite of the Mercury retrograde. of July that we all get stuck in, we've had, and the most beautiful compliment, feedback, testimony that I received ever, and it's going to go up on my LinkedIn profile and everywhere, is this wonderful soul, a very earnest participant. And she said to me, she says, Minku, what we have done in 4 weeks of doing this joyfulness code in your program, I have not achieved in 32 years. And this is my shout out, and this is my pride for this participant. There was someone else who managed to forgive someone in their family who they had a stigma for 7 years. So I just think all we need to do is wanting to do this work, Tina. We just need to be open, all of us, to be wanting to do the work and say, I'm going to shift from the head to the heart. It's simple. So, for the sake of listeners, I just want everyone in, and tell me if you relate to this, Tina. There's some brutal truths that I always start the journey with. Okay, there's some brutal truths. We chase success because without money we feel like a failure. It's a fact. And also I think we think more about what people think about us,
Yeah.
and that's destroying our confidence. And we want approval from people so badly, and none of this is ever going to fill up the emptiness that we have, and we start to blame others for our problems, don't you
Yes.
think?
Absolutely. Yes. I
And then
agree.
we just carry on getting angry, and we don't want to deal with the emotional issues. We go on to social media, not what we are doing, because our platform is bringing a lot of value to people. But what I'm saying is, we need to let go of all this, and we need to practice. So I just want to give this 10 beautiful mantras to all our and this comes after having worked with many masters for many years. This is what I do with my programs, and Tina, this is what I do with my retreats, which is also called the Circle of Joy retreats. We are also going to do programs every single month. So people who would love to jump on board, they can contact me at my email ID, info.thecircleofjoy@gmail.com. So it's the circle of joy. So to all you beautiful souls and listeners out there, this is my concise mantras for you today. How you can start to have purpose in your life beyond work and stress. Remember that the work happens at a very deep level, Tina, very deep level. And the neurocircuits of the brain is where the rewiring happens. So I would say, if you want to strengthen the substratum for permanent change, this is what you need to do. Okay. We need to start
Yes.
maintaining a positive attitude, number one. And I know,
Yes.
please tell me, we still have, I think, about few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes.
No, no, we
Uh,
have enough. Just carry on.
okay,
Your
all right. I think we spent a lot of time exchanging love for each other,
yeah.
and then came and then came the listeners. So I just want to say this, and I'll just go a little slower since you allow me to connect with my listeners a little bit more. I didn't want to rush through this part, so thank you for being generous. So I just want to say we must maintain positive attitude in life, no matter what. Resilience must become your first pillar ever. Okay, so the first one is resilience, and the second one is we must develop great listening skills. Okay, when someone is talking about losing a job, I'm sorry, but that's not your cue to start talking about how much you hate your job and boss. Okay, that's their time. Are you connecting to them at that moment? Are you going to be that best listening ear? Then they will come back to you. What we do is, oh my God, as speakers, we want to be a speaker because it gives us a control, a sense of control of the moment. and we are not vested. I always say this: if you're not interested in being a good listener, please leave. Leave the forum, go sit in silence, and then come back. Okay.
True.
And so also I think we have to try not to be so judgmental. That's my third tip for all our listeners, because when you are not judgmental and you are mindful, what I've learned from my mindfulness certifications and my emotional intelligence work that I do, it is the most liberating thing when I don't have to look at Tina and say, oh my God, what a beautiful scarf. And I do love your scarf, Tina.
Oh,
And you don't
okay.
have to look at people and say, oh my God, I want it too. And someone has a wonderful girlfriend or a husband or a wife, and you go like, oh my God, why can't mine be like that? No, you just take people as they are. I'm just looking at your scarf and saying it's a beautiful scarf. Okay. I mean, that's it. So what we do is we bring only the positive into our subconscious, into our work. That mind space does not have to collect other rubbish, because once you start making stories about everything, and passing judgments, all you're doing is filling up your mind space, which needs to be a little empty, so that you are in a good space to find beautiful solutions for life. So the fourth one I would say is cultivate curiosity.
Okay.
Curiosity, Tina, is such a powerful way to live life. It is the opposite of fear. So, let me give an example that say you have a fork and you have two roads, and I would always say, oh, you have four different paths. Life is very generous. It will not give us one solution, it'll give us option of five solutions, and then we are confused, which one should we use. I always say, just stay with your vibrations, develop your intuition, and carefully walk on any path you want to. Be curious. Once you start walking on the right path, what's behind the bush? What's
Hmm.
coming your way? What kind of cards is life dealing you? Be
Right.
curious. So I think this is very important, not to be fearful when you make some decisions. Honor, surrender to your decisions. Can you
Love.
can you
Yes.
relate to that? Yeah. Also, I think we have to be very observant, Tina, of our responses to life, and that's kind of, I would say, connected to my first point, because between this is very powerful psychological fact, that between a stimulus and a response there is a space. So I repeat this again:
Okay.
between a stimulus and a response there is a beautiful space. And I'm very inspired, and I'll quote Viktor Frankl here, if you would allow me. He said that in that space between the stimuli and between the response is our power to choose our response. So we
Wow.
get a little beautiful space between when someone says, I want an answer, or someone is angry. Tina, how quickly we react and we don't respond. But if we can take that beautiful moment to pause and then respond, we take the power back and we decide how we want to respond. We
Wow.
don't have to respond angrily just because the person is angry. We are responsible for our own responses. And then, of course, I would say the next point, I don't know whether we're on the seventh or eighth point, but be
We are the fifth.
honest.
We are the
Okay,
fifth. Right? Hmm?
okay. So be honest and preserve your integrity. You know,
Wow.
integrity is everything. How authentic are you? Are you operating from your real potential? Are you compromising? And that brings me back to Um, this is how I would explain it. What zone do you want to operate from? Do you want to operate from a fear zone? It's your decision. Do you want to operate from a learning zone or a growth zone? Every time, this beautiful forum and platform we have today, I just feel no reaction, no interaction between two people is ever going to be lost in the air. We all grow so much by having an honest communication, by practicing mindfulness, by staying in the present moment. So all I would say to end these beautiful mantras that are the crux of our life is practice, practice, practice. And I cannot impress enough how much practice we need, Tina, because we are too caught up in our own stories, we are too caught up in our own drama, but the need is to stay present. So I I would love to open this forum if anyone wants to reach out to me to jump on to our next program in July. I think we have a masterclass coming on confidence, communication, and connections. And a very important part that I really want to share with the universe is how to create your boundaries as
Wow.
women and even men. I mean, I'm not going to exclude them. And, I just feel that women especially give so much. And I hope all you listeners out there, women, will take heed and maybe have this beautiful takeaway. Your golden space is your space. No matter how much we give to our families, and we love it. The basic nature, Tina, of a woman is to nourish and
Yes,
nurture, right?
yes.
And I'm not taking away from that, but all said and done, where is your self love for yourself? When are you going to nurture, saying to yourself without guilt? So that's the other thing. I do a lot of work with guilt. I want to mention that I'm a student and a certified facilitator for Phyllis Crystal.
Okay.
Phyllis Crystal was 100 years old when she came to India. And
Wow.
a few dozens of us learned from her. And she always said that we have to cut ties in the deepest of our subconscious with anything that is toxic and that's not serve us anymore. So there's a particular way. So I work a lot. I'm working with someone in Nigeria one-on-one, and we're having some amazing results. If you will allow me this small story, and then whenever you tell me, we can um, you know wrap up here. But she was very troubled. She was having relationship issues. Also, I think they had compromised financially, and they had to move to a neighborhood where um, it was not very safe for the children. So when I started doing work for her about maybe 2 months ago, we created a vision board. We tried to re-evaluate, what was wrong with her energy? How can she make mind shift change? And it all goes back that she had some limited beliefs of herself since when she was about 5 years old. What she believed at 5 years was manifesting in her day-to-day life because she felt like she's not lovable.
Okay.
Tina, when people think I'm not good enough, that
Yes.
destroys a person. And my heart goes out to anyone who feels like that because, you know, everyone is relevant. Everyone is beautiful. And so we started working with her self esteem. We worked with cutting ties from that conditioned belief. And you will not believe within 3 weeks, they had found a house. So she put up this beautiful house on her vision board.
Okay.
and kind of a visualization affirmation. But of course, we do a lot of other work in the deep level consciousness. 3 weeks later, Tina, she had found a house so similar, and in October, they're moving out of the bad neighborhood. So I was
Nice,
like, oh my
nice.
God, the manifestations. And then we have another participant who has been wanting to become a yoga teacher professionally, and she was doing this, free of charge and all. We shifted the energy about money and abundance
Wow.
by again a deep work at subconscious. We have to understand what is our needs and what are not being met when we make a decision. When
Okay.
you decide to not have okay, it's almost tea time. If you decide, Tina, not to have your high tea, because I have my tea at 5 o'clock, what need of yours wasn't met? Like, oh my God, you wanted that comfort, you may be hungry. So I'm just giving you a small example. But similarly, we have other needs when we sacrifice things in life. So Tina, with that, I want to just gratefully from the bottom of my heart, I want to just thank you for allowing me to bring these beautiful messages and see how we can help all the other sisters in the world to maybe cut ties and work with a negativity, guilt, and the harshness and lack of love. Thank you with my folded hands for the beautiful soul you are. And let's stay in each other's lives and carry on making this magic for everyone out there.
Wow, I must thank you first because a person of your stature, a person who has traveled across the continents, made the lives of women, men, everyone she's come in touch with beautiful. She's filled people with joy. She's filled people with magic. And Madam Minku was here today in my show, Wednesdays for Women. I'm sure the viewers who have been watching her have been really benefited because I wrote down the points that you had spoken of because I wanted to keep this with me deep inside my heart. And I could relate to each and every word that you said, living in the moment. And these moments that you gifted me today, these half an hour or 40 minutes, whatever we spoke, it was absolutely beautiful, mesmerizing. And I can say this is my gift for today from you to me. And I'm going to take this. And I hope the viewers are going to take advantage of what ma'am has said. And I hope they connect to her. They're going to take her programs. And I hope I can actually give your website and your phone numbers or whatever you have, your
Thank you.
information. Whenever I'm putting this up on Facebook, I want to put this up, all the information about you, so that people can connect to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
and
See,
people would love to connect to an angel, definitely, an angel on earth.
thank you. Thank you so much. I am just so full of love. And to all my listeners out there, just practice, practice. We can always, it's very hard to bring the water, the horse to the watering hole, and then to make it drink. So I just feel this work has to be done willingly. It has to be done out of love. It has to be done because you are on earth to do beautiful things for others. For that, you need to be very, very complete and wholesome. Lots of love and bye, Tina. If
Lots of love to you.
Thank
Lots of love to you
you,
from the bottom
thank
of
you,
my heart. Thank you.
thank you, and much love. And have a wonderful, wonderful life ahead. And embrace your awesomeness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye
Bye.
now.